What's up, everybody? Today is Sunday, September 7th, and welcome to episode 5 of Breaking Ancient News. I am super excited to be here today. We have changed the format up. We are adding a whole bunch of different things. We're going to dive right into it and cover all the exciting new topics that are happening in the ancient history and the discovery community over the past few weeks. But first, I want to announce a couple of changes. My first big change is I'm joined by 3 new amazing creators, personalities, and people that are going to be joining me on this show. We've got Cody from East 10 Outpost and Dave from Mike and Dave's Multiverse joining me here as co-hosts, as well as our good friend Danny in the background running the show as a producer. But things are going to be different. We're going to be having a whole bunch of different personalities join us, talking about all these different subjects and bringing up different things, and just add a lot more personality, different perspective, and different life experience to Breaking Ancient News. So super excited to be joined by these two guys. Cody, I'm going to kick it off to you. Cody, thanks for joining us. Can you give our audience, just tell them a little bit about yourself, about where you come from, and what you're going to be doing here?
All right. Well, Aaron, thank you for having me on. I love the show format, and to be able to join like this is awesome. So I'm from the East 10 Outpost channel, and it's just at East 10 Outpost all over social media. So whatever one works best for you, I've probably got that handle there. And I dive into ancient history, predominantly the more mysterious and esoteric side of it. I cover some breaking news in my News of the Old World series, and soon some exploration content as well. So if any of those things interest anybody out there, you can find me at East 10 Outpost.
Awesome. And just as a shout out and a heads up for everything, anything that we talk about today is going to be linked in the description below. So if you have any questions about any of the links and how to get in touch with any of these people, personalities, studies, research papers, Twitter drama, whatever, it'll be linked down in the description. Thanks, Cody. We're super excited. I'm super excited to have you. We're also joined by another one of my good friends, a guy that I connected with over the last several months, and we've become great friends talking about all sorts of stuff in life. Welcome, Dave. Thanks for joining us here today, and as a co-host here on Breaking Ancient News.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks so much for having me, Aaron.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what your interests are? Jeez Louise, can't even talk this morning. And
yeah, man. Super excited to be here. First thing I wanted to do was give Danny a little bit of shit. I've never actually met him in person or even seen him, but he's in the background. He was a little late. I was late. Then Cody was late. But then Danny was late. So Danny takes all the blame this week for being late. But other than that, yes, thank you, Danny.
Danny's mic's turned off. He can't even talk shit back.
He will. He'll be able to next week.
That's right.
Yeah, my name's Dave. I have a YouTube channel, Mike and Dave's Multiverse. We interview people from the history and science community, plus just people I'm interested in talking to. Both Aaron and Cody have been guests on my show, and probably other people that you guys have heard of. I do live streams once a week, sometimes twice. We drop an episode, an interview once a week, sometimes twice. Like I said, my primary interests are ancient history and science. So we'll cover a little bit of that from my end on this show. But I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm super excited.
Awesome. We're super excited to have you guys both. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of discussion and hopefully a lot of things that we can share with each other and, break some ancient news. So super excited. Oh, yeah. But first, I've got a list of topics here we're going to get into today just to cover everything, and then we'll dive right into the show and get everything cranked off. Up first, we're going to have Ben Van Kerkwyk was just recently on Joe Rogan. It was a fantastic episode. He's from UnchartedX. We're going to have Dave's going to cover that for us. Cody's going to share some incredible content from Luke Caverns. And then Will Brown from Incredible History, he has found some runic inscriptions in Paraguay that are absolutely fascinating. I have a new channel series that's dropping today on my YouTube, Ancient Explorations, where I'll be covering, just doing a general overview of some of the ancient sites that I've viewed around the world. That's awesome. Cody has a fascinating new video from East 10 Outpost, and then Dave, obviously, as he just talked about, he's doing lots of interviews from personalities over at Mike and Dave's Multiverse. He's got a few things to share with us. Michael Button continues to challenge the timeline. He's always got some good content there. Michael Collins over at Wandering Wolf has a new event series and a few tours coming up that we'll talk about. Oh man, we got a lot to talk about today. Hopefully we're going to get to all these topics. But Matt Baell featuring some more vases, and Cody has some insight and an interview with David Miano, an archaeologist who got his hands on some. I'm excited to talk about excavations continuing at Sacsayhuaman down there in Cusco, Peru, because that's one of my favorite places on Earth. There's some Twitter drama that we're going to cover between myself and Tony Trupp. Tony, I'm a little bit mad at you. Got some beef now. You created the beef, Tony. But all can be forgiven. All can be forgiven, my friend. And then, of course, Jimmy Corsetti, as always, stirring the pot and mixing things up. If we do have time for it, Megalithic Marvels, they've got a new tour and a new video about a Mayan statue that looks completely out of place. We got a few articles to go through and some shout-outs to some new channels. But first, before we dive into that, I want to cover a couple of things real quick. It's been a while since we did the last episode, but I did promise that with every episode that we do, every episode that I do of Breaking Ancient News, we are going to do a free giveaway for one of these spectacular hats. Now, look at this just prime, amazing hat from Richardson. It's got these excellent colors. It's going to be autographed. It's going to have my name on it. We're going to send out hats to Dave and to Cody to get them to have some signatures on these as well, so we can get some merch for everybody there. But all you have to do to win one of these is drop a comment down below. The comment with the most likes for the next episode will win the free hat. But that being said, let me cover real quick the previous episode, because we have here some winners and some top comments that I need to share here and pull up. So the drum roll here. The third highest comment in third place was from Onyxoto. He's a great Twitter follow. Always shouts me out. Love you, buddy. Says, great job, buddy. Skip some parts because I knew already, especially Corsetti. Can't wait to see you back on the road. You are the best at it. No one is as smooth, joyful, and informative without pretension. Seeing you exploring is being in an adventure with you. Now, where's my hat, bitch? Great comment. Love it. Honestly, love all my fans. Can't hate on that one. But then that one had 4 likes. The next one here, oh, you guys are going to love this. Coming in second place with a whopping 6 likes is good old Dave. Shout out to Dave. What's up? This is great work, Aaron. Awesome
nice.
setup. Good concept. Perfect for a morning coffee. Also, thank you for doing our show. It was a pleasure. Episode with Aaron drops in a few weeks on our channel. Stay tuned. It's very close to winning the first place, but the first place prize goes here to, drum roll, Spencer Postgrad, also an excellent Twitter follow. So Spencer, I know that you posted and you commented and reposted when we all shared this link that we're doing this new live show. So I know that you're one of our best fans. And so with 8 total likes, we're going to get up there. Pretty soon we're going to be at 808,000 total likes for these comments.
Oh, yeah.
But Spencer Postgrad said, I really enjoyed the show, especially the parts about Egypt. It was nice to relax at home with some tea while watching. I also appreciated this discussion about the different perspectives of Egyptologists and how archaeology varies across various disciplines. Nice trending topics I'll repost to show so my connections can hear all the different theories across archaeology, mainstream, and trending, Aaron. Spencer, you're the best. You won the free hat. I'm going to hit you up on Twitter. This one's yours. Autograph. Hopefully this will be worth something someday, but if not, it's a sentimental piece for you and for being a supporter of this channel and the show, so thank you so much.
I just wanted to say shout out to Spencer as well. I was talking to her as well. She's cool. She went back to school for archaeology at 36 years old. That's kind of badass.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she's just basically going after her dream, and that kind of thing is exciting. So
that is super exciting. Great job, Spencer. Thanks for being a supporter of the channel. Drop a comment down below. You can win 2 hats. All you have to do is be the top comment to win that hat.
We'll make it a sombrero next time.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Hat on a hat.
Perfect. All right, moving on to our topics. We're going to kick things off with just one of the biggest things that's been happening in the ancient history discovery community. I mean, really, you kind of what I called it one time. I had a great Twitter post. I said, making it onto Joe Rogan is like winning the Nobel Prize in conspiracy theories and alternative history. A lot
That
of
was a
a
great
lot
post.
of a lot of people took that as like me trying to say something negative, and I meant that as a genuine compliment. I would love to win a Nobel Prize.
Yes. I
Excuse
thought
me.
it was a great comment. I was like, damn, that's so accurate.
Yeah. So we have a two-time Nobel Prize, or maybe three-time Nobel Prize winner, Ben Van Kerkwyk from UnchartedX, who just went on there. Had some great stuff. Dave's going to cover that for us. Dave, I think you got a few clips, and why don't you just give us a little rundown? What was Ben talking about there on Joe?
Yeah, so it was a classic 3 hour like episode where Joe was like in his form, like top form, because this is one of his favorite subjects, and he like kicked Ben. So I've been following Ben's channel since before he got on Joe, like for a few years, I think, before he first went on Joe. So it's been interesting to see Ben like level up like over the years, level up his channel, level up his confidence, level up his like aura, and so it was fun to see him on there. I think maybe it's his third or fourth time on
Yeah.
on Rogan, and
Yeah.
they talked about a bunch of different stuff in 3 hours, but he talked about three things that I just wanted to highlight. So this first clip that I took was the them talking about the Stargate interpretation of the hieroglyphs at Dendera. It's because since this is breaking ancient news, this is sort of the newest thing that was discussed on Joe Rogan with Ben Van Kerkwyk. If you're like, got your finger on the pulse like some of us do, and a lot of what Ben talked about was, stuff he's been talking about for a minute, and it's been around. But Trevor Grassi, and you get more information about it from him on his particular episode of, and we'll put the link in the description. But he did an episode of his own YouTube channel, I believe, in more detail about this. And they go back and forth and they look this up, Joe and Ben. But this is just a little blurb of them talking about this Dendera Stargate. And we'll let you
Wonderful.
guys decide for yourself.
And there's a gate. Actually, try and find one of the other pictures. Maybe there's
The star's the circle. That's what the star's supposed to be.
yeah, there's the star on the right. No, on the
Oh, the far
there's
right.
there's the hieroglyph. So again, yeah, Stargate. It's you see the gate and then the star, and then I assume that crooked hook or whatever is part of this as well.
Oh, I see. So it's the way you translate the hieroglyph.
Yes. Yeah, so,
So
and
that's what it
Muhammad
means.
Ibrahim, who I know quite well as well, he's very good at translating these glyphs. We when I travel in Egypt, we usually go with
There it is there.
Professor Muhammad Jabbar.
That's
who's
a
one
good
of,
look
I
at
would
it.
say top 4 or 5 in the world for reading hieroglyphs. He can just read whatever's on the wall and tell you about it. He travels with us on these tours. It's
Whoa.
phenomenal. He just shows us this. There's probably some better pictures of ones with the actual constellations up at Dendera if they get
That's
into.
incredible.
Yeah, but that one where they were standing next to each other, go back a little. Where is it? No, back a little. There. Yeah, so see, this is the one I'm talking about. You see the stars, the stars above the gates. So there's literally different these and with the words they relate to specific constellations. This is in the top what's the zodiac room at Dendera, where they have a replica of the circular zodiac on the ceiling. The French have the original, but this is original hieroglyphs, and it is the translation of this is literally Stargate for these constellations. So
That
say what it
is bananas. And what are these constellations supposed to be?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Is that going to stop?
We do tell people when we
stop it
get
here.
into it. There is.
I mean, I had it set for 60 seconds, I thought. So just keep that in mind.
No worries.
But,
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean,
It is crazy, and I just wanted to ask you guys because I saw Stargate in the theater with Kurt Russell, so I'm aging myself a little bit, okay? But I also I watched the whole series of the show. There's like 3 different series. I've seen them all, and I'm a big fan of Stargate. But when we get into the world of ancient history, when I hear Stargate, I start getting a little like get my getting a little skeptical hippo on
My eyes
that.
glaze over a little bit.
Yeah.
Correct, but that's weird, right? That's weird.
It's
Kind
very
of looks
weird.
like a Stargate.
I mean, it
I
reminds
like
me of those
to
other
say-
hieroglyphs
Okay.
that have like the helicopter. Have you seen that one? And like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to say reality is often stranger than fiction, and a lot of Hollywood's greatest stories, came from somewhere. So, who knows what they actually meant by it, but it's interesting with our modern context and the way we've kind of imagined those things to mean, to sit and speculate on it. So I think it's fun either way.
Have you guys
Yeah,
seen
it's fun.
Stargate?
I've seen a few episodes and I've seen the movie, but like,
Okay.
I can't say that I'm like a fan or not a fan. It's just
Okay.
hasn't been involved in my life.
No worries. It was kind of a big deal for me. So
Yeah, much on it.
but again, like when we're getting into like the ancient history that like I like to explore, I typically like I like when I like talking about Stargates on ancient aliens and stuff like that. But after that, I kind of glaze over.
Yeah.
This is interesting though. I don't think it's proof of a Stargate, but what's interesting, and we're going to talk about this like here coming up, is there's a bunch of stuff underneath Giza and other spots in Egypt. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
these,
exciting.
those new whatever satellite sonar deals or whatever they are. I can't remember what they call, but the new survey that's detected those structures underneath Giza. So yeah, I'm fascinated by Giza. I know that none of us here is really an expert. We need to get Danny a mic so we can get him to comment here. But yeah, Giza, there's going to be some big stuff happening, especially with Matt doing some excavations there. Trevor Grassi doing some work there. There's some big stuff happening. So that's pretty cool.
Well,
Did you
and
have
Ben
anything
gets
else
into
from
it in the episode a little bit and kind of says some of the stuff that they've pinged and been able to scan under there. And one of the objects is metallic. And that's what's interesting to me is like of all the things they've pinged and scanned and dimensions they've ran, something down there is big and metallic and right in the center of an atrium. And I think that's fascinating, whether it leads into the Stargate thing, or I've seen people speculating it's a ship, or even if it's just a giant gold sun disk down there. Any possibility of what it might be from the mundane to the extraordinary, again, I still think that's pretty freaking fun.
Or I'll play devil's advocate, and maybe it's just a big chunk of volcanic iron.
Well, lucky enough,
you're right. Whatever, yeah.
Lucky enough, we're gonna get into that on my third clip where they talk about that. So that's exciting. But on my second clip, if you could go ahead and pull it up, it's titled "It's for 3i Atlas."
Yeah, definitely.
This is something that's going to come up a handful of times on Breaking
Am I older
Ancient
than that
News.
now?
Right.
If you could pause it. This is going to come up a handful of times on Breaking Ancient News because it's related to catastrophism and the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis and the idea that we're not like we don't live in a stable bubble, and that civilization was recycled a couple of times. Michael Button, or who we'll talk about here in a little bit, this is a thing that like I'm very interested in too as well. Okay, and as an amateur astronomer, I'm going to be watching this thing myself on my own telescope. So I'll keep
you have a
guys
telescope?
posted on that.
Sweet.
I do, yeah, and I'm going to be
Nice.
watching this bad boy on my telescope. But it's the third ever interstellar object
Gotta get my
ever to
telescope
be
up and running.
ever to be detected in our solar system. There's been two others before, one called Oumuamua and one called Borisov, named after a dude named Borisov, who...
Yeah, I remember Oumuamua from Avi Loeb talked about that a lot.
Yeah, so Avi Loeb's the one talking about this one.
Oh, there we go.
And he's basically, here's where I love speculating about this stuff. So just let me be the first to say. But I also want to be the second to say, Avi's like one of the I'm following the data on this very closely, and Avi's one of the only people who's saying that this could be some sort of spaceship. So it's my opinion that we need to look at this in the from the lens of like a thought experiment. Like if this was a spaceship, what does that mean for us as a civilization, or like what would we do, versus like that it actually is. But we will know by like October, early October will be its perihelion, this object, where it's as close as possible as it can be to the sun. And we won't be able to see it at that point. At that point, it'll be in an eclipse with us. And we'll know if it makes it move one way and then goes the other way and fakes out, does like a Starship Enterprise or something like that.
Yeah.
It will know, but after that, it's probably just a comet. But anyway, everyone's talking about it right now, and Joe talks about it weekly. And so if it does turn into a planet killer, we'll definitely start covering it. But you can go ahead and
be
play
awesome.
that.
Well,
all the way
down
to
to Peru with me.
Yes.
We'll see. We're going to find out. Like this 3-eye atlas thing.
Yeah, what is that
Super
thing?
weird, right?
Well, Avi Loeb is convinced that it's a UFO.
But
That's what he does.
Yeah,
right? He did with that other one, Oumuamua or Oumuamua. So that one was a little odd.
That was weird. So it wasn't the weirdest thing about Oumuamua seems to be its path after it turned around the sun and accelerated. Like that was the standard model of physics said it shouldn't have done that, and it seems to have exhibited sort of motion that was not what we predicted it would do. That's as much as we can.
Acceleration.
It accelerated. It was
like
outside
noticeable.
Yeah, it accelerated.
But like to the factor of what?
Well, not that. I think it was only a few percent, but it was not what should have happened according to the calculations that astronomers and the orbital dynamics people had done. That's what I understand was the most. Obviously, its shape and size. It was
there was something about its reflective properties as well, right?
Well, I mean, just because it was so way older than that now,
right?
I mean, we'll see. We're going to find out. Like this 3-eye atlas.
You can stop.
Thing.
There we go.
Yeah. What is that?
So, I've been like kind of following this topic since I was 10 because I've been inundated by it by the media, by the world's going to end via asteroid impact, or alien invasion. But what do you guys think? Have you guys heard of this object? And is it on your radar? And if so, how's it being presented on your radar?
Cody, I'll let you take this one.
Okay. I have heard about it a little bit, and predominantly, honestly, from you, Dave. You kind of cued me off to it, and that's one of those things. I think there's a couple things that really restart our progress as a species here. And impacts are one of those things that can really pump the brakes on any progress we've made and send you back to an ice age, caveman in an immediate amount of time. So it's good for us to pay attention to. And the anomalous properties about it, that kind of stuff's right up my alley. I'd love to think it is a spaceship and it's filled with, some really cool, friendly aliens that can maybe talk some sense into humans, but it's probably just a really big...
Careful, Cody, you're married.
Yeah. It's probably just a really big icy rock, and as long as it doesn't hit us or any of our space neighbors, it'll be cool to watch the coverage of.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
For sure.
You know what we all need to do, guys? Pretty soon here in a few months, we're going to talk about it later in the episode, but we're all going to be in Sedona. We need to head up to Meteor Crater. I went there a few years ago, but you have the Barringer Meteor Crater that it is just absolutely fantastic because it's this gigantic hole in the middle of the desert that they didn't even think was a meteor crater at first because the iron chunk, whatever survived, hit there, exploded, and then hit the bottom, exploded into a bunch of fragments and bounced out of there. So nobody actually found really many meteor fragments in the crater itself, so they thought it was just some strange, weird anomaly. But we should go visit there when we're going to Sedona because it'd be a cool place. And hey, we can see what it would look like if the 3-eye atlas decides to hit us on a grand scale.
I'm here for it. Let's go.
I am trying to get a fast response out of Grok right now, but I'm pretty sure that Three Eye Atlas makes its closest approach to Earth, which is actually pretty close. Like right around the time that we're going to be in Scottsdale in December.
Oh, there we go. Let's have a little ceremony out there. We'll throw in a little event. We can come out. We can have a meteor celebration. We can pray to the meteor gods that the meteor does not destroy our planet, like the ancients, I'm sure, did unsuccessfully before the Younger Dryas event.
Yeah, it's funny how humans, no matter how much we've changed over our course of development, we're still praying to the gods that they don't hit us with an asteroid.
Yeah. That's right.
So its closest approach is December 19th, but we'll be able
It's only
to.
10 days after we're there. That's close.
We'll be able to see it. I think. I may if I'm gonna bust out my telescope. It's like on display right now. I'm gonna dust it off and see if I can get it working well. And if so, I'll bring it to Scottsdale.
Oh yeah,
I've got a real big, nice one I can drive down there. A digital one too, if you don't want to fly it.
We might be able to take a look at that thing from your telescope. While we're there, like if we go camping, it'd be helpful to go camping, so we can get away from that light.
Sounds like we're gonna
I'm
have to
be
go
there
camping,
extra
boys.
days afterwards.
I will be too. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, what else do we have from Ben here? Was there one more clip you wanted to share with us?
Yeah. Last one. This is the main. This is the thing. This is the main topic of that's why Joe wanted to have him on here. This is what he talked about at Cosmic Summit. It's actually kind of funny because there's this big brouhaha about the Italian research team in the Caffre project and the structures underneath Giza. But this stuff that he's talking about, is been known about. It's been known about. And it's like a massive labyrinth with 3,000 plus rooms that Flinders Petrie discovered in the 19th century. Ground penetrating radar in 2008 that shows the underground grid structures. Is a metallic object reference that we were brought up earlier that's in the shape of a tic tac, a 40-meter tic tac. And so he talks about it here, and they talk about it a lot in the episode. It's kind of a big deal. It's funny though, because he talks about it in the episode as if it's like he's a little frustrated that nobody cares that much because everyone's talking about the Italians. But anyway, I thought it was good.
All right, let's give it a listen.
So excited to talk to you, man. I have been looking forward to this.
Yep, right.
Since I saw your video on the labyrinths in Egypt. Spoiler alert. There appears to be a 40-meter long metallic tic-tac shaped object. How deep into the ground?
It's in the central atrium, which we'll get into what that is, but somewhere in the realm of 60, 70 meters. So, man, what's that in feet? Like 200 feet, 150 to 180 feet down, something like that.
So for anybody who's interested, what is the name of that video that you put out?
I think it's the ancient structure, it's said to be greater than the pyramids. I try to tease it a little bit, but it's on my channel. I mean,
well, it was a good tease. You got me.
Thank you.
I dove right in, and I remember I was in the gym while I was watching it, and I literally stopped working out. I was like, okay, I gotta pause this. This is not something that I can consume while I'm working out. I need to really pay attention to this because it's so wild.
Yeah, and I honestly that I'm grateful for how that video took off. For me, it took off, but way bigger than ones that I've done in the past. I talked about the labyrinth in the past, and it's a much longer video.
You want to keep going there?
No, it's fine. So had you guys heard about that before? It's weird. Don't you think it's weird that that doesn't get a whole lot more coverage?
It's super strange. I mean, geez Louise. Egypt is so weird because you know that the number one guy, or at least the self-proclaimed number one guy, who claims to have investigated every grain of sand on the Giza Plateau, he's the one that's saying there's nothing else happening. There's nothing else there. There's nothing else to see. We know where everything is. He's the one that's in charge of that. So you have this kind of this mainstream, or I guess you could say mainstream academic push to not be proactive in seeking out more excavations. It seems like it's very, very, very strange.
Yeah, I agree. It does seem like they really want to have a bottleneck on what is getting released out of Egypt and where people are focusing their attention. But I had heard about these before, that Flinders Petrie had thought he found, what was the base of it, but in reality we know was the roof of it now. But NEXT had told me that a while ago. And what I did not know, though, is that like actual people from the research teams were arrested in Egypt when they came out and said like, "Hey, we found these labyrinthian structures using our ground penetrating radar." Yeah, some of those team members got arrested. And that's if that's not like proof of suppression of information, I don't know what could be, because that's a pretty clear threat to all the other team members, to future people wanting to scan the ground. And then, to the individuals that had to suffer the direct consequences of it. It's a pretty clear like mob tactic on Egypt's part, and good old Zahi Hawass has his name all tied up in there. So it's very interesting, kind of the way they mob cartel control the information out of Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Petrie. That guy was a savage.
Yeah, he was.
But yeah,
Taking them all.
it's interesting. It seems to be coming, this stuff like guys like Trevor Grassi are doing, and the Land of Chem guy. These guys are like finding and like climbing around in tunnels all over Giza. That site that they're talking about, that Ben was just talking about, is under Hawara, I believe. Yeah, Hawara, which is 80 kilometers south of Giza.
Fascinating.
Just throwing that out there.
Fascinating. Well, thanks for that, Dave. That overview from Ben on Joe Rogan. The episode just released a few days ago, so definitely go check it out. Link will be in the description below. But moving on, I wanted to throw things over to Cody, because Cody, one of your good friends over there, Luke Caverns, who we all know and love, who's also won a Nobel Prize in conspiracy theories, or showing up on Joe Rogan. He's been dropping some excellent content lately. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about what Luke's been up to?
Cody, man, I just went there, Cody. I just went to where he went to. Just FYI. Yeah, I on my own. Did you know that?
I didn't.
In Georgia?
No.
The place isn't... Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just excited. I started watching his video, and I got really excited because I was like, I literally was just there. So.
That's freaking awesome.
Yes.
He had released, I guess since we started planning this episode, 2 episodes. One was a exploration of the Red Pyramid, I believe with the Land of Chem. The other was, out in Georgia, exploring some of the forgotten mysteries and marvels of the Appalachian, region up in there, and a possible lost civilization. And the one that we're focusing on, though, and that I clipped for,
I'm sorry,
I found particularly interesting. It's involving some of the mummies coming out of Peru, and
love it.
He covers some of it with Will Brown, who was actually boots on the ground doing reporting out there. And he dives into, at the beginning of the video, a really interesting theory on the Olmec that I had never heard. So if you pull up that clip, we can kind of dive into that and discuss it a little bit more. But Luke might be onto something very interesting here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll get this pulled up here.
When it comes to Olmec stuff, I've really got to give Luke his dues. He's been he's been giving them some great coverage.
And fangs. And the more I've studied this, the more I've seen that there really is this fissure down the middle of the Olmec realm. And in the 1970s, there was a paper that was published that discussed that in the early to mid 1900s, there were disproportionate cases of children who were born with what is called ectodermal dysplasia. Ectodermal dysplasia typically has no learning disabilities. So when you're born with this, your brain functions normally. However, in your mouth, you may or may not have bottom teeth, but your top 2 teeth are fangs. And again, this publication was specific to children that were being born in Veracruz, which is the Olmec heartland. And I just wonder if, looking back or projecting this deep into the past, if this is not a genetic trait that has survived through the Olmec world. And perhaps when children were being born in ancient times without learning disabilities, so they're still perfectly intellectually capable as everyone else, but they have lips with clefts in the middle of them.
Very interesting.
So his theory that he kind of puts forth here is that essentially the Olmecs were the first practicing eugenicists, essentially, and that they might have been
Numerous mummies
selectively
found from all around the
breeding,
Peruvian realms, including mummified.
Sorry.
They might have been selectively breeding based just on that, growth trait and that genetic trait, because you do see it all the time in their iconography, and that's been typically interpreted as like the were-jaguar. But when coming out of Veracruz, the Olmec heartland was a study on how there's a disproportionate number of children born with this particular genetic mutation. I would say that's a pretty strong indicator that they were definitely selectively breeding for that specific genetic trait. And then you see it over and over and over in the iconography. So Luke stumbled onto something I think pretty fascinating there.
Yeah, it's very common in the South American cultures. The Inca did this as well. So the Inca, you kind of think with like, this is my only relation to it. So I know it's of a similar type of people, but the Incan people was not the Incan people. It was really the Quechua people. The Incan was like the ruling class of people. And they would actually breed for traits too. They would find somebody from a different part of the empire with some desirable trait, blue eyes, red hair, no joke. They love those redheads down there. Probably thought they were of the devil, like most people did. But hey, take what we can get. And they would do the same thing, selectively breed those people as well to like produce those traits into like the ruling class of people, because they wanted, we wanted the most beautiful people to become Inca, and the ruling class. So it's they definitely did that.
The Inca
eugenics
bone
down there.
Right, the Inca bone, a skull plate in the back of the head, is one of the things that's kind of a genetic holdover down there specifically, and that shows up in a lot of the elongated skulls, is that Inca bone, and it's only found down there. Nowhere else has that extra bone plate.
Yeah.
My comment is brief. That's one of those discoveries that like the new NAGPRA laws are to cover up.
Yep. Yeah, I've gotten into NAGPRA a little bit, but yeah, it's a spicy.
We'll mention it a little bit more later too. Nothing in any like controversial context, but
yeah, that's what I've found. Just mentioning it's controversial. Apparently.
I know. Well, I just did.
But yeah, I think Luke was really onto something with that theory. So it was a great first clip.
Here we go. I'll keep the second one for you.
Yeah.
Numerous mummies found from all around the Peruvian realms, including mummified human fetuses, show an extensive ancient knowledge of obstetric anatomy. From Mesoamerica down to Peru, we see evidence of pre-Columbian surgeons carrying out extensive and complicated procedures to intervene with the complications of breech births and other maternal complications. They were able to manipulate and reposition the baby inside the mother's womb, as well as perform cesarean-like procedures. And in researching this video and trying to find some kind of context to give these Nazca mummies, I think I realized so many different points of view of the ancient pre-Columbian world that I had never really considered before. There were so many complications that must have happened in their lives. And keep in mind, these are incredibly intelligent people. There were people who were living in the pre-Columbian world that were as smart as Einstein, Oppenheimer, Stephen Hawking, and even much, much smarter than these people. It's very likely and very numerous.
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight, Luke points out something that I think really flies under the radar a lot. We talk about, advanced society and modern medicine and everything really coming from the Greeks and the Romans and the Renaissance. Way before any of that was happening, they were doing really, really advanced brain surgery, body augmentation, amputation, uh, birthing procedures, all sorts of things in South America, long before it was ever happening in Europe. And
India too.
yes, oh my gosh, the medicine that was happening in the East is incredible.
The
And
stuff they were literally doing surgery. They had like high culture, like lipstick and high heels and stuff in India, and watches and shit.
Well,
You
and
know?
in South America, like there is a lot of evidence of very advanced brain surgery happening, removal of tumors, things like that. They were performing regular dental surgeries and augmentations. Like they were putting gems and jade and all sorts of stuff in their teeth for fun. But then they could also remove teeth, they could remove cavities. Um, they were doing essentially modern medicine long before it was ever happening in Europe. And Luke pointing that out, I love that because not enough people do draw attention to the fact that like whatever we think about the Greeks and the Romans and their ability to shape our modern sciences and academia and medicine and politics, man, they had it figured out in South America long before that.
Yeah, they were doing something way different down there. It's very interesting. Yeah, when I went on my first tour down to Peru, I went with Brian Forrester. Shout out Brian. I know you're going to be on Matt Bell, or maybe the Matt Bell episode just came out, but
I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, it's going to be great. Brian's great. Brian's, once you watch Brian, you'll realize he is the expert, but he is not very good at doing presentations. He's a little monotone. You need to spice it up a little bit, Brian. And I told him this when I met him in person.
I've watched dozens of hours of Brian.
So have
Yeah.
I have an elongated skull sitting next to me off camera.
Yeah.
But, I definitely, all of that interest and everything
I
I've
can
learned has come
accept his
from Brian.
monotone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. I love him. But when we went to the church Andahuaylas, where they have a little museum there that has an elongated skull and an elongated child's skull, and it was really cool. We had this who's now become a good friend of mine. His name's Sachin. Sachin, good shout out to you. He's a doctor and actually a pediatric doctor, pediatric specialist. And so he actually like examined, not physically, but examined the skull from an outside perspective, from a doctor's perspective, and examined the features on it and examined the whole thing that they had there. And his determination, much to the chagrin of Brian and the rest of the people there, was a normal human fetus with a few not uncommon deformations kind of put together. So just like a rare example of a human being born with multiple deformations. So it was a little bit of a disappointment to Brian, who kind of challenged him on a few things and made it like asked him a few like specific questions to try to get him there. But Sachin held his ground. He was like, "No, I'm a doctor. This is regular, like just a regular fetus. It's not part alien," which is what I think, some people were reaching for, some of that, it's got some mystery DNA in there. But that was a fun little story. But yeah, the body augmentations that the people were doing, to bring it back to what you're talking about there, Cody, absolutely fascinating. Like, yeah, literally getting into the brain, cutting open the skull, accessing the brain, well before I would say modern sanitation methods, which is just astounding to me.
Yeah. And we know that the surgeries were successful because we can see the bones having healed around the surgery that was done, implying decades of life after the surgery. So it is incredible. And it's funny you mentioned that about Brian, because I do think he wants it to be like aliens, and I've heard him say that. I think a lot of people don't consider just like hominid variants nearly enough. Like I think a near hominid was breeding and passing on certain traits, and that's why, like, yes, by itself in an isolated example, it's just one child born with a bunch of abnormalities. But when that was happening on a more than regular, basis elsewhere in South America, I think it points to a more interesting pattern. But I'm not convinced that it comes from space.
Yeah, if you had the body of Shaq buried next to the body of Peter Dinklage, and
Yeah.
somebody, 10,000 years in the future excavated
Right.
those, they would think that they are working with two different species entirely.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I will say about it is that the more we learn about this kind of stuff, the more we realize that guys like Michael Button, who's been talking a lot lately about how human civilization is cyclical and and human intelligence and ingenuity and artistry and stuff is much older than it's possible that it's much older
Yep.
than we ever give it credit for.
Millions
Is like
of
kind
years,
of
yeah.
what all the content creators we usually talk about and look at are challenging right now, right?
Yeah. Well, just the morphology of our teeth alone
Mm-hmm.
suggests that wherever we took a divergent from actual primates, that was millions of years that are completely unaccounted for. So there was
Mm-hmm.
near anatomical, modern day humans walking around for millions of years that aren't even accounted for. So it is interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that you said he was working on that project with Will.
Yeah, and at the end of the video, he brings them in to talk sort about some of the Nazca mummies that have been found.
You have
Let me
another
pull up
clip
that
of
last
that?
clip there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Will's great too. I've followed him for a very long time.
Metallic rod that is implanted in their chest, what he thought was osseointegration.
Shouted
Yeah,
him out
can't
while
you-
I was on Limitless because Matt asked about the mummies, and really he does
necessarily,
the
but
best
he is a
research out
professional.
there.
That can, if that's true, and this hasn't been peer reviewed necessarily, but he is a professional, and there's been other doctors say they've experienced the same thing with other bodies that they're looking at down there. If that's true, whatever was implanted on that bone, that chest, whatever that was, would have had to have been alive. Is that true? I'm not a doctor. I was just reporting what the doctor was telling me. So that to me blows my mind. And then also, if you just kind of want a little bonus anomaly in there, Dr. Zuniga Sr. told me that Maria has 32 vertebrae, while most humans have 33. From what I understand, this isn't exactly impossible, but we are talking about anomalies on the.
Very cool.
So when he starts the clip, he's talking about the little tridactyl mummy, the little one. And basically, what they've found is there's some sort of metal plate that is like in the chest of these little mummies. And what a lot of doctors are noticing is just like we were talking about with the bone growth in the skull, where we can see successful South American, brain surgeries. There's bone growth around these plates, indicating that it survived and lived and was organic after the plate was installed, and bone continued to grow around it through the years. So that kind of flies in the face of it's just kind of an ancient Frankenstein project if it was actually organically continuing to grow and its body respond for years, presumably after a foreign object was installed into it. So very, very interesting reporting coming from Will Brown, and I was glad to see Luke include him on that project.
Yeah, that's super fascinating. There's a ton of anomalies going down there in South America. Everybody loves to focus on Egypt, and we think that's because that's where there's the pyramids over there, which are remarkable. But South America is an untapped resource with the Amazon, even with the stuff in Peru that I can't believe it doesn't get more focus. There's some good stuff going down on there. But that'll tie into actually what I found a video of Will Brown here. He did a little expedition. He posted a video about some of his expeditions in South America and Paraguay and found some Viking inscriptions in Paraguay. So let's take a look at that here.
see Sarah Wasu. But after talking with some locals in the area that she had put me in contact with, I started coming across these photos of what clearly looked like runic inscriptions. So I was determined to go try to find them. So I went to the national park Cerro Cora, which is in the same region, and I met up with some park rangers that said, "Hey, we'll take you to some petroglyphs." And this ended up being quite the adventure. We were hacking through the jungle with machetes, climbing
Watch this.
creeks, climbing these big cerros. And then when we got there, I saw it, an actual runic inscription. And it was the one I was looking for. I'd seen a very blurry photo of this exact one.
This is Antigua.
Antigua.
Muy Antigua.
Muy
So-
Antigua.
Muy antigua. So it's like, how old can that actually be? I mean, you know, Leif Erikson visited the American continent. We've got Viking inscriptions up by the Hudson Bay and up in northern, northeastern United States. Now we find these runic inscriptions down in Paraguay in South America. So
There's
it's
a
like,
Viking runic inscription in Ontario, Canada, as well.
yeah.
It's
So
new.
it's
Vikings
just
got
like
around.
the information that we have is so limited. It's just really just like the people that survived the longest that happen to record stuff, but like there's so much out there that doesn't even happen. Like, how did what was that Viking doing down there in Paraguay in the middle of the jungle?
An
That's crazy.
unfathomable amount of lost history. It really is amazing to think about.
You
Yeah.
think of just the constitution and endurance like a human like that would have to have, you know, like the grit,
Yeah.
the grit, you know.
Yeah, or maybe it was
I just
just
respect them so much.
maybe he just got there completely by accident, got blown off course and survived a shipwreck, ended up in
Mhm.
Paraguay.
Had a series of
Like, man, I
fortunate
had
luck,
a hell of an
good luck,
adventure.
series of good luck and bad luck.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, shout out to
That's-
Will. Shout out to Luke Caverns. Follow both their channels. Will Brown with Incredible History. Luke Caverns, I think his channel's just under the name himself over there. Both
Yeah,
on
could I
YouTube.
just-
Follow him on X. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Could I just quickly say, yeah, the video and I was referencing that Cody was that I mentioned was just like literally came out last night, I think. So that's what I thought that Cody
Yeah,
was clipping
it was fresh.
but he went to a couple sites that are close to me. What was weird was you were on my live stream, Cody, and he was in the chat. Luke was in the chat, and he was like, "I went to that." He said something along the lines of, "I went to that mound, and I hopped the fence, and there's some kind of like something behind the mound that I showed a picture of because it's kind of like in the middle of the road." And he's like, "Yeah," he sent a message that he hopped the fence and stuff like that. That I didn't realize that was like literally that a few weeks ago, and he just was about to do a video at the exact same place I just went. So
That is
I
cool.
don't think it was a coincidence that he was in our chat. But he went to this place called Track Rock Gap, which is a cool place here about an hour from me, and it's got some petroglyphs that are pretty old, and nobody knows who put them there. And you now can't see them because some asshole spray painted them or something. But anyway, that's just my rant. Sorry.
Interesting. It sounds
There's
like you
always
need to get
some
out there with a
asshole
camera
around.
and start doing some content.
Well, I did take some pictures. I did take some pictures while I was out there and showed them while Cody was on my live stream. I don't have them handy right now, but
Nice.
what I need to do is get my. Here's the thing, and I don't want to get like when I pulled into the parking lot, and the parking lot kind of comes out of nowhere for this site, and then there's a short hike, like a quarter mile to get there. I pulled into the parking lot, and there's these two like blacked out, huge, unmarked SUVs, like just sitting there, and I'm like, okay, that made me feel really uncomfortable. So I got out and I took a picture of like the signs that say like you don't come in, and then I wanted to take a picture of the SUVs, but I chickened out. I was going to, but I got scared, and then I just jumped in my car and left. I want to go back and see if they're still there. I'll to be continued, you guys. I'll be back with a report.
Can't
like
wait
that.
for it.
The
Can't wait
adventure
for it. You'll have to
continues.
post it on your channel.
I will.
Yeah, and on to that, because part of the purpose of this show, as we move on to our next topic here, is shameless self-promotion. Absolutely shameless. 100%, 100 miles an hour. Going to self-promote the heck out of all of our channels. And
I love
each week,
that.
since we're all going to be content creators, we're going to produce, we're going to, feature a video from us. So I'm going to start things off. I'm launching off actually a new little series on my channel, Megalithic Mystery, on YouTube on X. And it's called Ancient Explorations. So I've spent hundreds of ancient sites all across the world, multiple different continents, North America, South America, all over the place. And I have all this video footage, but it's all kind of compiled together and scattered in different places. So what I'm doing is I'm getting things together, putting it in an organized format, and going through and offering a brief description and explanation of some of these sites that I've been to. So I've got the first one. It's launching later today. It's called Ancient Explorations Peru. That's going to be some really cool stuff. So I've got a little preview for you guys. This will just be
nice.
Oh, let me fix it here. Get the audio working. A little preview for you guys, and it's going to be a new series that's dropping. I think maybe every week. See how many episodes I can get going and get produced and get out there. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And here's the first one here from this really cool place that I went to called Chocachurco, which is down in Peru.
I like that name.
Now, here's one of the coolest things. I'm going to pause it here real quick. One of the coolest features that we have here is this stone, the step cut stone. This is on the back of the side, on the back side here. We're going to pause here on this screen so you can see just the beautiful cuts into it. Some of these are right angles, some of these aren't, but really it is absolutely brilliant.
I can't see any video,
Let's
Aaron.
keep going. More megalithic
I can
cuts
see
in the
it.
back side. You can see it?
I can, yeah.
Okay. Little video here of them as well.
That's so wild.
It's
Yeah,
just a
very
black
strange.
screen for me over here.
I'm seeing it, so I don't know if that helps.
That crazy block. I think it's being streamed, so we're good. Anyways, that's all. Just wanted to do a little preview of that. So yeah, Chocachurco is such a cool place. Up on the top of a mountain, there's just this incredible site with these carvings directly into the stone like that. And again, what I love about the Inca, and this is why I think that Peru is just such a hidden gem. Come on one of my tours, by the way. Both you guys and all the audience, come on one of my tours, megalithic.com/tours. That people forget the Incan culture, which at the height of its empire in the 1200s when the Spanish invaded, was using bronze and stone tools. That is all that they had. And this bedrock here is, some of it is limestone, but a lot of it is andesite and diorite, which is an 8 on the Mohs scale of hardness. And it is just unfathomable to me that we could have the remnants of people doing this with no chisel marks, no hammer marks on any of the fine cuts, none of that. So it's very indicative to me that no, the Inca did not do this. We know what the Inca looked like at the height of their empire. We know what their technology was because the West invaded them, and it was nowhere capable of doing some of the stuff that these guys have. So, Ancient Exploration series is coming out here later today, and it'll be posted on my channel a little bit for the coming future.
I'm really excited for that series, Aaron, because you can see that at the big sites, like all over the big sites, all over the big sites in Peru. But what I want to see is it at sites that you don't normally see, like you do right there. And it just reminded me of something I saw on X the other day. Jay Anderson posted something that looked like it wasn't the same thing, but it was similar, where I think you could understand the meme where it said seriously, Peru, WTF? And it was some random bunch of right angles on the side of a mountain for no reason.
Yeah.
And I just love that about Peru, how everywhere in Peru it's really, what the fuck? What were you guys doing?
It is
Next
so cool.
level shit.
I found so many places where I'll be literally driving on the side of the road, and I look over and I'm like, what's that random boulder in the field? It looks like there's a line on it. And so I stop my motorcycle, get off the motorcycle, start filming, and walk over there, and it's like, oh look, there's a megalithic cut into this bedrock right here, and there's somebody's farm literally right around it. I had to walk through their farm over their potatoes to get to this ancient megalithic cut. It's crazy down there. Can't wait for you guys to come visit.
We will.
Well, I'm excited to see the
Go on a
series.
tour.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. But let's kick it over to Cody. Oh wait, let me see. Was that Cody next? Yeah, Cody's next here. Because you were doing some stuff along the lines of the skull elongation, and we got some stuff in Europe. So I'm gonna kick it over to you. Share us with what you got for your latest video.
No
Yeah, it
dinosaurs,
was.
Cody. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
no, I did
Come
an Eastern
on,
investigate on
man.
human beings and dinosaurs recently, and how the ancient world acknowledged the fossil record, and if they even did, and maybe some more interesting possibilities of a little overlapping in certain places. So definitely, people can check out my channel
It
to
was a
see
good
that one.
episode. Check it out.
But the skull elongation out of Europe, that one, I'm a sucker for the elongated skulls. I'm convinced they were their own human populace pre-Diluvian, and I think that's where the stories of them being gods and all of this emulation we see all throughout the world. Because in every inhabited spot of our planet, people were doing cranial head binding for some reason. And in Europe, they just found the oldest example of it. So I highlight that in one of my News of the Old World, and it's a pretty fascinating story. 12,800 years old. This skull dates back to.
Let's pull it up.
Let's check it out. See this bad boy or girl.
So we got the article here that we got here for you. Europe's oldest cranial modification found in an Italian cave. This is pretty cool. I'll just read the little blurb here. Skull unearthed more than 50 years ago from a prehistoric burial site in the northwestern Italian coast has been confirmed as the earliest known example of cranial modification, ACM, artificial cranial modification, in Europe. Between 12,190 and 12,620 years ago, pre-Younger Dryas, upper late Paleolithic era. Wow, purposeful head shaping, pushing back the origins of European cultural practice. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
There's
the
some
oldest
pictures
example
here.
comes out of Australia, which is wild. The Aborigines were practicing it over 13,000 years ago, I believe, is what that one dates back to. So yeah, it's a pre-Younger Dryas, practice that was happening. And I've always got to wonder, like, why? When, as humans, we're programmed to eat, sleep, and reproduce, why would we so dramatically, after you've had a successful birth, which is incredibly rare in and of itself back then, why would you then risk the life of that infant even further to wrap their head or put them in headboards? It makes no sense unless it was for a very good reason. And I think it was kind of like cheating on the college exam and giving your kids a leg up and saying, oh, yeah, they're part of that bloodline.
Maybe. We pull up the clip here.
Yeah.
I don't think I clipped to it on my channel, but I do have the link for my channel in there, and it's my most recent short video. My most recent investigation was human beings and dinosaurs, so definitely go check those out, and soon there's going to be exploration content on there as well. So
look at all these great videos on here. Look at all that shit. Freaking awesome.
I like to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Cody's flair, and I get excited because I feel like I'm in an episode of, or like I'm playing Fallout and doing some ancient investigations. Well, because you do a little bit of that in Fallout, eh? Like you're always coming across like archaeological like sites and stuff.
Yeah, there's all sorts of goodies hidden in there, and if you've ever been to Disneyland, when you're walking through the Indiana Jones ride, there's like a section of the ride that's like Indy's field office, and it's like gated off, but you can look through there and see what was going on. And there's always like a radio playing 1920s music that'll like static in and out and stuff. And I was like, man, I'm doing that.
That's fun.
I'm taking that idea.
That's a good idea.
That's great. Well, thanks for that. Always check out East 10 Outpost. But what do we got next? What do we got this week and recently here from Mike and Dave's Multiverse? Dave, what are you working on?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we do interviews with interesting people and people I think are interesting and whatever overlaps. we talked to the episode that dropped on Friday. We talked to a gal named Megan Gibson, and also Dr. Danny Hillman Nadawajaja, who's like the leading. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. So he tried to tell me like 3 times how to say it, and I feel like I'm saying it right. So, trying my best. But I met him at Cosmic Summit, and I had heard about him before, and we got a chance to interview him for our Cosmic Monday series leading up to Cosmic Summit. He came back on the show about halfway through this episode with Megan. We met Megan and him at Cosmic Summit. Megan is this regular gal turned amateur adventurer / amateur explorer, and she's really fascinating because she basically saw an episode of Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse, the one with about Gunung Padang, with and she was like with her family, and she was like, "Are you guys like seeing this shit?" And they like, were like, I don't get it," and she was like freaked out, and she like basically decided to go find out what was in the pyramid at Gunung Padang and figure out how old it was, and she started emailing Danny Hillman, and that's how they became friends. It's just some random girl. So she's been over there a bunch of times. She's doing a bunch of fundraising and whatnot for and like helping organize like LiDAR scanning and stuff of the pyramid. But they also talk about in this clip, they have evidence that they're going to go explore in Sunderland, which is like, I don't want to bro science this, but it's like a water formation near Asia, India, that kind of area. And they have evidence of Plato's Pillars of Hercules.
Oh, wow.
In Sunderland near Indonesia. So he didn't share with me that evidence because they're still gathering it. But so they're not going out on a limb and saying it yet, but they're pretty darn sure, and they're organizing money, and they're going to check it out. So if you could play that clip, Danny Hillman and Megan Gibson, it's basically you can cut it after it changes to the next scene because it's a montage at the beginning of my episode.
Cool. Maybe this will inspire me to hit them up because I want to get into some underwater archaeology. I'm planning a trip. You guys are both invited to come out and see Yonaguni. So get your PADI certification.
So, you'll meet Megan at
there was 2 pillars.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say you'll meet Megan at Ancient Civilization, the Quest for Ancient Civilization conference in Scottsdale. Wonderful. She's friends with Michael Collins. She just went to Guatemala with Michael Collins, and so just because for fun, she's not a content creator or anything like that. But yeah, she's a really interesting gal. I highly recommend meeting her. But all right, you can go ahead and play it.
Yeah, let me know when you want to pause.
Underwater, and the top of the pillars is just like the tide level. So yeah, it's very interesting because it's very cylindrical shape, which looks like it's unnatural.
Lake Toba is really intriguing. It's just this incredible lake up in Sumatra, up island, and they're on the side of a hill there's 3 pyramids built into it, and it used to be an ancient kingdom, I believe.
We know the Egypt civilization, we know the Mesopotamian civilization, which is great also. And I don't think the civilization reached us. No, it's also lost, right? Somehow. But it's not because of the natural catastrophe. I think it's because of something else.
I've never been so literally on the edge of my seat. Like, I was perched on the very corner of the couch, like leaning 45 degrees forward, just like jaw dropped, like looking around the room to see if everybody else is feeling the same way that I am. And like, they're
Were
not
they?
somehow, which is just like that also is mind blowing.
Yeah.
One of the professor that study that, and also he's also an expert on the Mayan civilization, and he said that lots of similarities between Mayan civilization and the Angkor Wat heritage.
So you can cut it. So random girl sees Ancient Apocalypse, emails Danny Hillman, leading geologist at Gunung Padang, and now works with him and like helps promote his work and stuff
Very
like that.
cool.
And,
Hell yeah.
is actively involved in like finding
That's
Atlantis
awesome.
in Sunderland near Indonesia. So just throwing that out there. Check that out. It dropped on Friday. And then what was the other one? I had another one.
Looks like
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth Weiss.
Yeah, and this one actually is a preview. Nobody's seen any of this before. This drops this Friday with Dr. Elizabeth Weiss, who I had heard of during all this NAGPRA stuff, and that I kind of like backed away from with a 10-foot pole.
Part of the field school we did is
and for a lot of different reasons, I just didn't feel super well informed about it. There was like people, it was like a very hot button topic, man, and I don't like being, to be frank, I don't like being extreme about stuff. You know, I like to see things in between, and so, but I watched Cody talk to Dr. Weiss, and I was like, this person who I feel is being vilified, and I was like, whoa, there's like a real like person who's really excited about like actual work and science that like interests her specifically. And so I wanted to do an interview where that highlighted that. Like there's like a curious kid like trying to learn about the world, like in this like lady that they're like, you know, trying to vilify. So this is Dr. Elizabeth Weiss talking about her life, her career, and a little bit about the controversy with NAGPRA and her book. So
Wonderful.
safari at Hell's Gate, and Hell's Gate is the national park of Kenya that was the inspiration for the Lion King. And so I thought this would be good for me because basically, much of my interest was reconstructing how past people's lives were like, and you can do that best when you know in what type of environment they were living. I think that some of the things that surprised me most were in the Egyptian Museum were all the animal mummies. I just thought those were completely fascinating, seeing all the mummified animals. If you actually look at the DNA study, and if you look at even the government's assessment of that study, they say that the closest ancestors to Kennewick man are actually South American indigenous peoples. When I heard that, I realized that this is not just about burying remains, but this is about controlling the narrative. Part of the field school
So we're talking about somebody who's a very like factually based black and white thinker, and that's her perspective. And that's okay, that's allowed. And you can see when she's talking about like certain things, like when you're talking about the specific data and stuff like that, like in the discoveries you can infer from like data gathered in her field. She lights up like a kid who's like learning, something new.
Yeah, that's a great description of it.
Yeah, and I wanted to show that because, like, I think she's a good person, and she has a lot of interesting things to say, and her point is she's valid. Her opinion is valid.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that'll be a great episode. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, looking forward to that coming out. When's that coming out, Mike? Or sorry, Dave. Jeez.
This Friday. Yeah.
Every time I talk about your podcast, I'm really good at calling you Dave and only referring to you as Dave. But every time I talk about your podcast, because it's Mike and Dave's Multiverse, I always afterwards end up calling you Mike, and I just hate it. So my little brain just makes that little mistake.
Well, it happens a lot. Like people call me Mike all the time because of the podcast, and I'm the more like vocal one, like communicating and whatever online, and so it happens. It happens like almost daily. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Mikes and speaking of Michaels, I know that your next topic that we're bringing up is good over at Michael Button. I know Dave, you are covering his. He has a new video, his History Alive. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Mike's got going on recently?
Yeah, so as you guys know, so like I had this episode of Michael with Michael Button that was dropping on Friday. And then all of a sudden I'm like going for my walk and I pull up my phone and I see Michael Button is on Joe Rogan. This is on Wednesday. I got my episode with him dropping on Friday. And I don't know how to feel. I'm like, I don't know if this is good or bad. Like I feel good about it. Like I'm dropping the same guy that Rogan is. But I'm like, am I going to lose views because of this or get views?
Yeah, the flip side is, why would I listen to Michael on Dave when I can listen to him on Rogan?
Correct. Yeah. I just kind of had a laugh at the universe. But I was actually kind of pretty proud of myself for like that. And I just wanted to thank Michael so much for coming on the show. It was really fun talking to him. And he's one of these guys who is very well presented, very well spoken, very well researched, very well everything. His videos are very well put together. Yeah, very. Yes, yeah. And so it comes across well, and he's blown up like quick. And just to put into reference, Ben Van Kerkwyk quit his job 10 years ago, and then he's on Rogan this week, right? I don't think Michael Button's quit his job yet. And then he started his channel in like, I think it was, basically a year ago. And then Rogan heard about him. Rogan shouted him out in like April or something. And then he was already blowing up before that. And he's just got this idea that he's been just fearless of challenging, which is if humans, like archaeological, like modern humans, are up to 300,000 years old, then why can't like high culture, why can't technology, why can't all the stuff we're capable of doing be possible from people up to 300,000 years old? And I think it's an interesting thing to challenge. If you go ahead and play that, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on that idea that, that he talks about on Rogan and here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pull it up right here.
According to the traditional model of history, humans settle down and build permanent settlements and structures until the Neolithic Revolution, roughly 10,000 BC, 12,000 years ago. So if we're like 480,000 years off in terms of the development of structural engineering, then that just opens a whole range of possibilities. Can we find the middle ground? I really hope so. This is like my big hope, is that we can kind of bridge the gap between the alternative viewpoints and the mainstream academia and kind of present. This is what I'm trying to help and like in my small tiny part to do, is to kind of put forward this kind of these ideas that are based on scientific fact but are not kind of boxed in by the dogma of the conventional historical narrative. Hopefully it won't take as long as the funeral of the current generation to see some progress in our perspective on prehistory. And I'm hoping people like ourselves can help hurry up that process and get this message out there, because I think there's a lot that we do not appreciate about ancient humans. There is definitely a kind of conventional narrative that is in place, and to attack that narrative or to even question that narrative isn't really allowed. And I think that's the complete wrong way to look at history. I think we should be open to every possible type of theory.
Wonderful.
So what do you guys think about just his super fast come up and then the general idea that, if human like biology is up to 300,000 years old, then why can't technology be?
Yeah,
I'll let you get this one first there, Cody.
I think Michael is meteoric rise. I'd love to know how he tags his videos. But
algorithm loves it.
The idea, it's something I agree with very strongly. Like I said, just about the morphology of our teeth alone kind of implies there's a lot more to our species and our history here on this planet than conventional academia would like for us to talk about. So I'm glad Michael's being able to give it such a good voice and platform right now. And it's like the old BBC documentaries, and his voiceover is smooth, and I love it. So it's a good watch. I enjoy Michael.
Yeah, I'll tag along there. It's us Americans. We love those British people. Yeah, we love foreign accents.
Just eat that shit out.
Yeah.
Now that helps, right?
Yeah, maybe I should talk like from Ireland or something. Oi there, top of the morning to you boys. I'm
we have
the
a
Irish
tough time
explorer.
with Ireland.
Nobody
Americans
says they
have a
love
tough
hearing
time
Irish.
with Irish.
Just
Yeah.
British.
No, that's funny. But no, Michael Button's he's hitting the nail on the head here, and it's really kind of a catchphrase that I've been kind of trying to coin, which is more history, less mystery. But the problem is the majority of stuff that we find out is an absolute mystery. I'm going to make a full video about this. That's going to be a good shout out, an homage to Michael Button. But there's this period in time on Earth's history. I think it's about 1.8 billion years ago. But it's what's called the Great Unconformity. I know this is a time very, very early in Earth's history, so I think a long time before any modern mammals were there. But the Great Unconformity is essentially, out of the geological record of Earth, there is all across the whole entire world, a minimum of 200 million years missing, but up to a maximum of 2 billion with a B years. So that means it's like, the earth, the soil will build up and build up and build up, and animals will die and get buried and buried and buried and form, and it'll compact and form rocks and sediment layers and stuff, and over millions and millions and millions of years, it'll form rocks and layers of sediment that you can go down through and dig the fossil record and look at things, right? All over the world, there is a period of 200 million years, but up to 2 billion years missing. It's gone.
That's wild.
Nobody knows where it is. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. So it's like, to Michael's point, if we, for 300,000 years, have existed in this basic state, and it only took us 6,000 years to get from cave people to space age people, how many times could that have happened throughout the history of the 4.8 billion years of Earth, over and over and over again, and just been reset by whatever? Maybe not all the way to the space age like we've been doing, but high society like Michael talks about. So Michael's on to a great point, and it's a fascinating thought experiment to go through that stuff.
Yeah, I don't get crazy with this part of the thought experiment, but it lends credence to super like fantasy stuff like Lord of the Rings and whatnot. Like at 300,000 years ago, maybe 200,000 years ago, there was 4 or 5 different challenging hominids, in the same area.
Yeah, I want to know about, there's people talking about wars or fights between Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that episode of the Y-Files where he talks about how scary it would be if a Neanderthal hunting band came into your village at nighttime? It was like one of that was honestly the scariest I've ever been. Watching a Y-Files episode, I was like, holy shit, this is actually kind of scary, because if you think about it, you're screwed, right? Like, if just gonna rip your arm off,
Jeez, well, I mean, they were essentially giants compared to us. So
you're screwed.
Yeah, and they bred with humans and probably hunted humans.
You needed to trick those guys, man. We needed to trick those guys.
They were after our women.
Them somewhere.
All the damn giants are always after our women.
Just like that quote from Blazing Saddles. Where are the white women at? Where are the Homo sapien women at? Where are the Homo sapiens at?
Yeah,
Get that Neanderthal out of here. That's funny. Well, moving on to the next topic here. Shout out Michael Button, of course. Follow his channel there. hit him up on X as well. He's really good at responding to you on X. Doesn't have a lot of followers on there, so if you need to get in touch with him, at least that's what I always do. But anyways, something that I'm super excited to talk about, and I know you guys are as well. We want to give a big shout out to our friend and content creator, Michael Collins. Now, Michael Collins, I just closed out of my document here with all the links. So let me just pull that back up here. But Michael Collins has a bunch of stuff going on. If you're not aware of him, he's been shouted out by Graham Hancock a bunch of times, as well as on, I think Joe Rogan's given him a shout out a few times.
Well, I know Jimmy shouted him out on there.
Yeah. So Michael Collins is putting together a new event series coming up, and let me just share the screen here, and we'll just go through it and look at it. And I know these two guys, my two co-hosts here, are helping participate in getting some of the promotional material and stuff up for it. So that's going to be really great. So let me pull that up here. Where did I put? Wandering Wolf, news, events, and series. So let's take a look at this. So the first thing that he's got here that I want to show is the Quest for Ancient Civilizations here in Scottsdale, Arizona, December 5th through 7th. I'll just read this off. Join us for an extraordinary conference in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, and immerse yourselves in captivating talks, groundbreaking insight, and exclusive networking opportunities. Wandering Wolf Productions has partnered with World Views Media to bring this special event to you, with several more already in the works for 2026. Don't miss your chance to experience ancient history's greatest mysteries brought to life, and the kickoff to a partnership focused on further building this amazing community of free thinkers. Hit the button, blah, 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 blah. We got some awesome personalities here. I'm just going to read off all the people that I can recognize. You guys will help me out. We got AJ from the Y-Files, Gary from Nerdrotic, Jimmy Corsetti from Bite Insight. Who do we got here? Who's this guy?
Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens.
Oh, that's Childress.
His name right.
Yep.
Yeah, David Childress. Yeah.
David Childress. We got Will Brown, Incredible History, Dan the Dedunker, Michael Button we just talked about. All right, who do we got up here? Who else? We got the names. Hugh Newman,
he's an
William
Alien
Henry.
guy too.
Yeah. Hugh Newman, William Henry, J.J. Ainsworth, Oana Giosel, and Michael Collins. There we go, down there at the bottom. Now, why don't you guys talk about a little bit what you guys are doing involved with this tour as well?
Ooh.
Yeah, you want to go? So we had a meeting, Cody and I, and Brittany, my producer, with Michael Collins, and the three of us, Mike and Cody and I, are going to be helping out with the event. First of all, we're all going to be doing promo for the event. So on this show, on Cody's show, on my show, on Aaron's show, and we're going to be helping out. So the vision is for them to have like a sideline reporter show, like a in studio, go to the studio kind of show, so that in between they've got like the weekend jam packed with speakers, and in between the speakers for 20 to 25 minutes, if you've got a virtual pass, it'll go back to the studio, and it'll be Gary in there, and Garrett, Black Garrett.
Yeah, Porter Black Garrett.
And it'll be those two interviewing either guests at Cosmic Summit, guests and speakers, or just attendees, or it'll be Mike, Cody, and or I filling in for those two at times when they're either speaking or taking a break, or, you know what I mean, taking a nap. We're going to be helping organize the whole thing as well. So it's pretty exciting. We just found this out, 2 nights ago or something?
Yeah,
right,
Friday night. It was that was quite the shocking reveal to me. I was like, oh, okay, all right, let's rock.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll be helping with the play-by-play commentary essentially with Gary and Garrett, and get to be a part of all of that during the live streaming portions, and I'm definitely very excited about it. It'll be a lot of fun.
And it looks like we got some promotional material here from one of you guys. You want me to play this?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah.
Cool. Let's see it here.
Nice. You made that. I forgot about that.
Awesome.
Oh,
That
yeah.
looks great.
And see you
That
there, I
looks
shall.
excellent. Wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all of us team here at Breaking Ancient News. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be connected in person. We're gonna be having some awesome times and doing some epic stuff. So make sure that you are a subscriber. Hit that notification bell because you're gonna want to see what each of us has going at that awesome event. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Sedona, December 5th through 7th. Tickets are available through Wandering Wolf and World Views Media LLC.
And if you're interested in checking out 3i Atlas, the interstellar object as it approaches Earth, we may be doing a little something. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Let's do it. I've got a nice telescope. It's like an actual nice one, so that
Yeah.
like
Let's
I
do
can
it.
bring it down
Yeah.
there. We could, it's good enough that you can view the rings of Saturn. So
Yeah,
we can.
mine's like that too, but I would
Let's
have
go.
to fly with it. So if you're just driving,
Yeah.
let's do it.
I'll be driving. It's going to be a fun drive. Thankfully my car has full self-driving, but still, it's like an 18 hours for me, so it's going to be 2 days down there. But it'll be a lot of fun. Get down there with you guys.
I'm excited.
Yeah, well,
wonderful.
if you can't get down there in person, everyone, you'll be able to get a virtual ticket where you'll see Cody and I on the sidelines in between stuff for I think less than $100, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
$99
like
to get the
Keeping it very
virtual
affordable.
tour.
Yep. Cool.
Wonderful. All right, moving on to our next deal here. We've got kind of a vase compilation that we're pulling up from Cody. Now, Cody has been on the Matt Baell podcast, which has been awesome. One of the best episodes.
Which is
Check
so
it out.
cool. Good, congrats.
Thank you.
I was so happy, so excited for you when that happened.
Yeah.
That
But
was a
we're
big
gonna
deal.
we're gonna take a look at some other stuff here that Matt's been going on. Yeah, Cody, why don't you just dive in and tell us a little about what we got pulled up here for Matt?
So I'm gonna kind of combine. We'll just run the first clip, and I'm gonna segue over to Miano's from there. But essentially, there's been a lot of movement lately with the whole vase scanning from a lot of different angles, and Max is the gentleman that Matt's speaking with. And he's done a lot of the actual analyzing and scanning and different assessments that have been done on these vases. So go ahead and play the first clip from Matt's show, and we'll go from there.
The exterior of Petri objects was not
Schmitty.
nearly as precise as your most precise objects.
As what percentage of the 40? Like
You in your 40, you have about 10 or 12 that, when I plot them, they form this distinct cluster
Right.
of most precise objects. That's
Right.
like on a 2D plot, it's like a blob, but they're all in one place. And Petri, when I plot, it plots elsewhere, like pretty far off from that cluster, meaning that the accuracy of the outer surface of the Petri object was more in line with manual work. It definitely did not match, the machining work, because
Wow.
and a bunch of modern, contemporary artifacts. So off eBay, I bought. By now, I have 20. The exterior.
I wish I could get away with dressing like Matt Baell. I think Aaron could. I think Aaron could pull it off. I don't know if Cody or I could dressing
No,
like that.
there's a certain swagger about it. That
You
and
know,
when I
yeah.
saw him in person, his aura is like blinding. You've
Yeah,
got
like,
yeah. No, it really is.
Yeah, no, I saw it was happening to me when I saw him in person too. Yeah.
It's kind of a little mindset shift that happens when you no longer have a boss. As you know, Matt
Yes.
is the small business owner. He's got Bell's clothing. So when you become your own boss, you realize, oh, I can dress however the fuck I want. I can wear whatever I want. I can have white hair as a 40-year-old guy or 36-year-old guy. Like,
It's 'cause he's
go whatever.
Canadian. He's 100%
Yeah.
Canadian. Nobody's convincing me otherwise. I told him that to his face at dinner. I was like, "Hey, Matt, I'm convinced you're a Palladian." I just full disclosure. I'm on to you, bud.
So where's Aaron from then? Lyra?
The pits
We
of
gotta
hell
figure
are
out where Aaron's
to me,
from.
come on, that's I think what was really interesting about that clip is the scans that they got from the Petrie Museum, which they had like a very similar beehive one to one Matt has in his. They definitely show that the outsides were hand worked. There's imperfections on there that are performing lower than if you were to turn one of these on a modern lathe today. So they can see, like, yeah, it was definitely hand worked on the outside. But that kind of makes the inside even more mysterious because they definitively, there is machining marks in there. And each machine mark is a perfect circle. Perfect. Like testing to the point of the error differential that the machines limit out at. Each circle, each striation in there is a complete perfect circle, and the striations are on a line, which gives context to like there being some wobble while the lathe was turning. So it's pretty irrefutable that there was ancient machining going on in a way that currently we don't acknowledge, and we don't know exactly how or what, but it's obvious that they were turning these on a lathe.
Well, let's pull up the next clip here that I got, because it looked like it was pretty interesting when they were talking about it. Looks like a near damn perfect circle.
Oh yeah.
So what struck me, knocked my socks off, is that every slice I took of anterior surface is like near damn perfectly round. And it's near damn perfectly round at the level of a modern lathe. In fact, it's freaking consistent with the roundness you get on a modern lathe. And that was mind blowing because, when you pick up this Petri object, the outside looks nice. It's smooth, it's shaped, it's pretty. When you look on the inside, you see this striations, and you see the inner surface is messed up. It's imperfect. It doesn't look good, it looks visibly bad. Yet, when you slice it, even though it may be crooked, it may be lopsided, every slice is freaking perfect, and it's perfect to the degree of modern lathe.
Right.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
It is very amazing, and that kind of feeds over into the Miano was on a new podcast. I forget the gentleman's name. He works with the Snake Brothers quite a bit, but he wanted to have a conversation because he's also been looking at the Petrie Museum and other museums and getting to work hands-on and scan some of those. And he just kind of wanted to see what Miano's perspective was on this from a mainstream straight lace academic.
I think breadth is just as important as
No, yeah, we can go right into it. Miano thinks breadth is as important as width.
Yeah, this is Karoli Polka, is this guy, his YouTube channel that you were referring to.
Yeah.
Depth, So anyway, yeah. I noticed that happens. Remember with the debate that Graham Hancock was going to have with Zahi Hawass a few years ago, and it didn't happen because Zahi got offended. But after the debate, well, they didn't have the debate, but at the end, some people in the audience were asking him about Gobekli Tepe, and he didn't know much about it, right? Now, I understood where he was coming from. He's like, what does that have to do with Egypt? It has nothing to do with Egypt whatsoever. And it really doesn't. But he didn't know that there are people who believe there is a connection between Gobekli Tepe and like the Sphinx or something like that, that there are theories out there. He had no idea about any of that. So I understood where he's coming from. Like, I don't do that area. I do Egypt,
I think that's what...
I thought that was a great encapsulation of kind of that mainstream view where they're like, what the hell does this have to do with this? But then they'll vehemently dispute when a connection is irrefutably there. I mean, what does Gobekli Tepe have to do with Egypt? I don't know. They're like realistically neighbors.
Yeah, like what does
weren't
what does
communicating at the
Ontario
same
have to
time?
do with New York, right? What does
Yeah.
Ontario have to do with New York? They're right next to each other. They're both huge places, right?
Yeah.
But they're like similar, right?
Well, and you know, when you're talking about the timeline of humanity and our progression, they have everything to do with each other. So it's just a funny encapsulation of kind of, I think, the mainstream consensus. But this interview I actually thought was pretty good, and I was glad to see it happen because Miano said something in there which I don't think I managed to clip, but he said most archaeologists now would agree that Egypt had some sort of primitive lathe. And I that was news to me. I was like, would you agree with that? Because I feel like you've been vehemently denying that, but apparently from the horse's mouth himself, he has said that most archaeologists would acknowledge that Egypt had some sort of primitive lathe, and that's the only way that the striations on the inside of these could have actually been produced. So I thought it was a good gaining of ground from historically closed-minded people to be like, there's something we've clearly missed. Because I mean, that's really all anybody's asking. Like, we don't know shit about what was happening back then. Just fucking say that. It's the dishonesty and the clouding of what we know and pretending like we know more than we do that I think really kind of rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% correct. And then, like, my thought and my pushback on that is, so now you admit they have a lathe, but you only admit they have a lathe because you found objects that they couldn't produce with the tools that you have found. So you don't actually have any evidence. You're just like, well, fill in the blank. There's a missing piece here. There's a missing spot, so they must have had a lathe. And for the rest of us, it's like, with all these missing pieces, we see all the missing pieces, and it's like, there's not just a lathe missing. There's like a whole other piece of the entire picture that's missing with this Egyptian stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note that archaeology is by definition pseudoscience. Like, it's very speculative. So every time they want to cast a pseudoscientist smear on one of us, it's like, bro, you literally catch a paycheck for being a pseudoscientist, a professional pseudoscientist. So let's call it what it is. Speculative.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Do you guys think, just as a thought experiment, like that it's possible there was some kind of super clever, like super slow, like way of doing that? Like that they just figured out that somebody hasn't, with water, and I don't know, I'm just making shit up, but like something that like we just haven't wrapped our brain around yet, but it is explainable with the technology they had.
I
stuff that clever.
Yes, I think it's possible, but then my thought is to replicate it. Like, I just need somebody, like anybody to replicate it. Like they tried to demonstrate, like, hey, the
not
copper
just
saws.
those.
Yeah. Like they said that, the copper saws could cut through granite because they had some scientists out there, and they were using one of these copper saws and pouring water on it, and using sand on it, and it got like 4 millimeters in an hour, 4 millimeters in 4 hours, or something like that.
Imagine.
It's like,
all this shit, the tube drills, like all this shit is,
yeah.
You can't just do.
It's like, okay, sure, you can do that, but then like, can you actually do it? Replicate it at scale? Can you do it like effectively, efficiently? Like,
exactly.
By any stretch of the imagination, and we can't. So it's like that's where the doubt comes in. It's like, you tell me that we can do this, and tell me the Egyptians did this, but then like you can't reproduce it, and you can't copy the results that like people 6,000 years ago could do. So it's like,
No, and then people from other disciplines come out from outside and be like, no, that's impossible. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And
then you have geologists or physicists or material scientists, that are like, oh, wait a sec.
Correct. Yeah. That's
that's great. Do you want me to play this last clip here from Miano?
Yep. Go ahead.
Cool. Get this pulled up here real quick.
This has been fun. I'm enjoying this.
I am too. I am going to have to get to my anniversary here very soon, though.
I think it would be great if you were about analyzing the tool marks maybe a microscopic analysis or something that would be able to determine what kind of tool might have made a mark on
We
the
have
vase?
a machinist expert with us. Are you familiar with Chris King?
No.
So he's basically, his brand is called Chris King Precision Components. He's producing hub sets and headsets for high-end bikes. And usually he's coming with us to the museum and he's doing the visual inspection. He's looking for tool marks, not with a microscopic tool or something like that, but he with the loop and the kind of visual inspection.
Okay.
And he found a lot of interesting tool marks. Even when we were in Saqqara under the step pyramid, he found a fragment which
You had said something
interesting.
Yeah, it's the idea put forth by Miano I thought was actually really great to see, and I would like to Mr. David Miano, somebody I frequently engage with on X. I give him his dues because he went on, and I think he was a lot more open-minded than I've seen David be in the past on different shows. And that idea of, scanning and calibrating a machine to try and analyze those striations, see if there's anything in the modern context we can compare it to, and kind of lock in exactly what tool might have been used. Because right there, David's acknowledging the traditional explanation for tools is obviously not the one. Because the scans from the Petrie Museum are indisputable. We know the provenance of the vases. We know that they came from, directly from tombs. They know what tombs. It's stated. So the provenance isn't being debated. And some of them are terracotta culture, which was like predated the Egyptians. So they know that. It's not up for argument. So when you're seeing these tool marks on ones that have been sitting in custody by the Petrie Museum since before we had modern machines to do it, it's that argument's now off the table, and archaeology is starting to accept there is a tool or a process we don't know about yet. And yeah, there is now more evidence than they can shake away, and that points to there is something missing. And I think a lot of them that are willing to be honest and open-minded about it are eager to learn too exactly what comes from all these different vase scans. So it's a good time, because the vases, as little as they are, I think whatever precision measurements and instruments and tools they were using unlocks how they did all the bigger shit. But these are what we can actually stick in front of a scanner and turn and dissect and analyze. So it's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, I'm convinced.
Awesome.
Yeah, because if you can replicate the small scale technology, you might be able to replicate the large scale technology. But we're nowhere near explaining the large scale stuff.
No,
I don't know of any lathes that we have nowadays that can turn even small granite stuff.
Like just the statues and stuff and their faces and whatnot.
It's wild. And that's a good segue. Or anything else you wanted guys throwing about the bases? Visit Matt's channel, Matt Baell Limitless. Visit, we'll throw everything in the links down there.
Buy one of his replica vases because they're freaking awesome.
There we
I've
go.
got a
Buy
bunch
a
of
replica vase.
AncientVases.com.
And if he goes to Cosmic Summit next year, come to Cosmic Summit because you'll get to hold them, and it's a whole different experience when you do so.
It is.
It's like it's weird. It's like you're like, what? It something about it doesn't make sense.
Aaron,
when you hold
it. Awesome.
I need to ask you, if you got to hold one of these, would you try and smell it? Just yes or no? Just for me,
probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Then we're
I
not.
think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. I
totally
think he's
did.
probably used to people doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck's it smell like in there? Is it like I don't know what I was expecting. 12,000-year-old Egyptian. I know what that smells like. It smells like ancient high technology, Matt.
At first, they probably they were like, hey, what are you doing to people? And then eventually they were like, some people just end up smelling them. It just happens.
Funny. That's funny. Well, that's a good
I
segue
feel like a weirdo.
into our next topic here of high lost technology. Something that I'm super passionate about, just because I've spent time living down there, is the excavations going on at Sacsayhuaman. Now, I think honestly the best source for this is my good friend, personal friend actually, Matt, who lives down there. He's living in PSAC. So him and I connected when we were down there. But Matt is documenting this. His Twitter handle is Weird Old World. So if you don't follow him, you must follow him, because he is the best source for these excavations going on at Sacsayhuaman.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pull up his Twitter page and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. So here's Weird Old World. I'm just going to go through his timeline, because literally you just scroll down his timeline, you can see the progress. So this is September 5th, excavation update. You can see here where my mouse cursor is the base of the stones at Sacsayhuaman. So they keep going down, and they're doing optically stimulated luminescence dating for the soil down there, which is really cool. We're going to see when the soil underneath it was completed. Graham and Santha went there to visit Sacsayhuaman and the excavation.
cool
So
that
here's some cool pictures.
And they were greeted like heroes.
They really were, which is awesome.
They've been all over the place. They were in Iraq like last month.
Yeah. And so, I got into an interesting argument with NEXT on Twitter about this. It wasn't really an argument, but it was just a discussion point where he was saying that, actually, I should be able to pull it up here, because it was mildly entertaining. We're just going to go to my notifications here. We're going to pull this up. Here we go. So this is what NEXT said. He said, last week, Jimmy Corsetti fans viciously attacked me after posting pics from 2 to 3 days ago of the new excavations at Sacsayhuaman, saying archaeologists, blah, 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 aren't digging fast enough. For waist deep in the trench, it's Graham Hancock. And he says, is it so hard to believe that indigenous people 1,000 years after Christ could build something this remarkable?
Yes.
Somebody said,
Yeah.
how do you explain
Yeah,
the 3 tiers of skill level in the construction, or 4 if the Spanish built on a different site? Then this is some of the nonsense that I find that people regurgitate or surrounding the Incan culture. And this is basically from mainstream history books is what they'll say. It said, over the past 100 years, construction in the United States of America has shifted dramatically, shaped by new materials, technology, and social needs. Here are the main transformation. The Americans today, okay, we're going to go scroll down here. Often people generalize the Inca into one skill category, but when we say Inca, it means the people of the civilization that lasted over 100 years, and they had varying degrees of skills and methods which would evolve over time. The core period of the Inca construction, about 100 years, that doesn't make sense. The Inca who worked the stone 1 to 30 years are not the Inca who worked the stone years 80 to 100. Boom. So that's what he goes. He said the people that worked the stone at first are not the same that worked the stone later. And so my thought is, okay, so my great-grandpa built Sacsayhuaman with these large megalithic stones. Would he not teach his son and then teach me, and then I could teach my son the exact same method of construction so we could replicate
Gotta start
that and
all over,
continue
my
that?
boy.
That's
Figure
exactly
it out.
Nowhere
I
near.
do.
It's
Yeah.
nowhere near like it.
And that's exactly what I said to him. I said, honestly, that seems silly since the construction at the base and the earlier layers far exceeds the quality of the stonework on top. Technology progresses forward, not back. And he said, and that would be fine if everything was uniform, but things aren't. Things are nuanced. Just as if we have many examples of crude stones sitting on top of large stones, we also have examples of large stones sitting on smaller stones. Explain the latter. To which I said, that's a fair point. However, this is where my grammar got mixed up. There are anecdotal examples of the latter, being the large stone sitting on top of the small ones. But essentially, every single one of the sites in Peru that features the megaliths has them at the bottom, frequently needing to be excavated. And this is where things get interesting. Why do we need to excavate Sacsayhuaman at all if it's been continually inhabited by the Inca and Spanish for 1,000+ years? Why do we need to excavate at all? Why is there dirt on top of it? If the Inca built it, why are we then burying it? Because the Spanish have been there and people have existed there constantly. There has not been a break in that civilization, in that culture down there. It just doesn't make sense.
It's an important question.
Yeah. So, anyways, here's some more photos of the excavation. So, hopefully, we're going to find some more information. Oh, we went out through these already. We're going to find some more information out. Let's just pull up and watch a little bit of these over on Weird Old World. You can see
He's
the
with
additional
Graham.
blocks down there.
He's with Graham right now doing
No,
this?
I don't think he's with Graham down there doing this one.
No, okay.
Now, what is interesting is you do see a layer of soil on top of the one block. Let me see. I'll go back here.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, this little layer of soil between these two blocks. And it makes me wonder, since this was underground, if that's just the, seismic forces loosening those up. Because what happens when there's an earthquake at Sacsayhuaman, the whole entire structure will vibrate and kind of come apart. But because of the polygonal construction, after the earthquake subsides, it all slides exactly back into place. So I wonder if there's stones underground that were experiencing the same thing separating. Well, then when they separate, dirt fills in place.
Yep. I think you're right.
Yeah. You can see here. So we have these excellent examples. Now, this is just great. I want to point something out to you guys here real quick. Incan stone on top right here. Megalithic stuff on the bottom. If the Incan could do this, why would they finish it with this shitty stuff on top? And they didn't.
Makes no sense. NEXT has some very strange takes on things lately. I feel like he's just trying to be adversarial with people.
Sometimes, yeah.
There's literally 100 hours or more of Brian Forster walking around Peru pointing this out. You could see this everywhere. And that's what I had mentioned earlier in the show, is that like in, for example, Aaron's video coming out later, you could see, you'll see examples of this. It's not that easily explained. It's not... it's nuanced is the reason why. I hate how he chose the words to say it was nuanced, and it's like, yeah, exactly. That's
Look
why
at this video
you can't
right here.
decide how old this is.
Yeah, this is at the bottom of a cave. They found these megalithic blocks down there. Now,
wow,
can like any archaeologist out there give me a reasonable explanation why these would be down here, other than they got stuck down there from an ancient apocalypse?
Well, yeah, I mean, you because the ancients seem to have chose difficulty, like they see and that's like they chose precision, which is choosing difficulty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This wall at Sacsayhuaman is so mind-bogglingly complex. Like, I'll pull up that picture up here. Like, this is a tiny section of the wall. But this is fit together as with a three-dimensional puzzle. It's not just three-dimensional on the outside. They're three-dimensional shapes. They're not just blocks that fit together square. No, they're all sorts of weird shapes that fit together. And the Incan people didn't have any writing. So for them to, like, do this without even writing anything down is just so silly to think.
Aaron.
That is wild to think about.
You're a guy who's, like, built some businesses and stuff like that. Smart guy, good leader, good leadership skills. I give you a blank check. Can you make me a Sacsayhuaman wall?
I've thought about that question a lot, and this is why I'm so fascinated with Sacsayhuaman, in general. Because I do think I wouldn't say I'm like a super smart guy, but I'm like average or above average intelligence. But what we have now is we have access to information. And it's like, if you said to me today, you've got an unlimited budget, go build the Empire State Building, go build the Twin Towers, go build the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I would be like, damn, that's a tough task, but I would be 100% confident that with all the materials available, with all the technology they had when they built it, I could do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. It may not look as perfect because maybe I'm not like as precise and as, experienced, but I could do it.
Sure.
You tell me, go build Sacsayhuaman. Go build Sacsayhuaman with the tools that the Peruvians had. I say that is impossible. If you give me 1,000,000 years, maybe I could do it. And then if you say, go build me Sacsayhuaman with the tools that we have today, I'll say, oof, I hope I can get that done in my lifetime. Like,
it would still be a rough sell. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I hope. Yes, you're absolutely right. Every time I go to this site, I'm blown away. It's absolutely incredible. and inexplicable.
It's right in the middle of the city, basically. Right in the city.
Yeah, it's like, the city of Cusco's below it, and it's like right on top of a hill right above the city. It's very close, quarter mile from the city center.
So when you're there on a typical day, are there a bunch of people, like tourists and stuff? Or...
Oh yeah, so every day you go to Sacsayhuaman, there's, it's in, the park. Pay your tickets to go in. There's lots of people doing tours, lots of people walking around. During the touristy season, there's specific days that you can go, and like there's been days where I'm like one of like 4 people at the site entirely, but that's just getting lucky and having the opportunity to live there. But it is a big, huge place, and there's lots of things to go see. They're doing some excavations here. It looks like. Everybody, when they go to Sacsayhuaman, though, and this is why you need to come on a megalithic mystery tour, is everybody heads straight to the big wall, and there's some stuff at the back, the Chincana Grande, that is absolutely mind-blowing. I'll be dropping a YouTube video about it here in a few weeks or a few days when I got all that stuff put together, but I've got an X post on it that I'll link down below. The Chincana Grande is absolutely fantastic.
Sweet.
So here's some more stuff. I'll get done talking about these excavations here, just because I could go on all day and all night about stuff down in Peru, but I won't torture the rest of you guys with that. Check out Weird Old World on X. He is the best source for finding out anything and all the current stuff about these excavations, because he's down there, he lives there, and he's interested in all of this stuff. So check them out. Check him out.
And
let's see.
With Megalithic Mystery down in the description below.
Absolutely. Come take a tour. And, speaking of, we're going to move on to, I think, the last topic here, the last main topic that we have here. Let me go back and share my screen, because this is on the Twitter stuff and on the ink and stuff. I've got some Twitter drama and some Twitter beef that I need to talk about with your boy Tony Trupp. Now, Tony Trupp is a proclaimed archaeologist, and I'm saying proclaimed because I'm a little bit upset with you right now, Tony. Tony and I were
I've never actually talked to him.
Archaeologist.
I've never talked to him. Have you, Cody?
I haven't. No, I have no idea. So I'm being
Why
salty.
Why don't you guys go on there and follow me? Says Tony Trupp, currently working on photojournalism project in the blah 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 South America, archaeology megafauna blah. So Tony makes this interesting post about some Peruvian stuff, and of course, I'm the Peruvian guy. I've been down there, I live there, I speak the language, I love the people, eat the food. I got to go back and forth with him a little bit, and I was very respectful. He's blocked me, so I can't actually get this. I had to go find weird screenshots. But he posted a story of this one corner wall in Cusco that has the big diorite features, and they have the Incan stuff around it. And he said something about, isn't it amazing that the Inca had to, they could do this, and they built all the other stuff around it, and they were able to do these amazing things. And so I said to him, I can paint a different story with this photo. This is diorite, incredibly hard, 8 on the Mohs scale, and there is no evidence of chisel marks. I see this as the Inca coming upon the remnants of whoever built it before and putting it back together what they could, what still fit, and what they could find after 9,000 plus years of existence, including the Younger Dryas period. And he said there are hammer marks all over their stones around there, including hard stones like diorite and granite. People also misunderstand the Mohs hardness scale, which refers to how difficult it is to stretch certain stones, but they often chip and split relatively easily. I said, very valid point, but exterior hammer marks don't explain the smooth precision fit interlocking surfaces, especially the ones with tiny indentations, grooves, and lips that lock them in place. It's never been replicated or demonstrated. Nothing modern comes close. Tony then, I couldn't get it, but Tony then pulls up a picture of Machu Picchu and says a different layers of construction. And I said, even in the picture that you pointed out, which is a picture that I've sent before, you see the megalithic stuff on the bottom. This is a very old picture of Machu Picchu, and the Incan construction on top. This is one of the oldest pictures we have. We have it there. I said, hey, you can see this. Look, there is a difference. It ended with Tony sharing that the Inca, this other architect returned to Spain, and constructed something similar. And then Tony blocked me. And this is what drives me crazy, is Tony, because you blocked me before, because this happened at midnight. This last tweet came at midnight. And then Tony blocked me before I could actually send a response because it's like, oh man, this is a great conversation. I'm having a good time. It's been super respectful. You can see you bring up an excellent example. That was my next thing that I was going to say to him. I woke up the next morning, all excited to respond to this, to getting back engaged in the conversation. I had to work for a little bit. I get back to my Twitter. Boom. He's blocked me. What the heck, Tony? What the
Chicken
heck?
shit.
And I know it's because you showed this example of the of a building that a guy built when he went back to Spain, and that example is very interesting because what the Incans love to do is the Incans love to copy all the stuff that they had around all the megalithic stuff that they could find in the area.
Right.
And the Incan built polygonal walls, and they look pretty good on first inspection. But then you get close and you notice two things. You notice, A, the use of mortar. And B, you notice that when you look at the top of the stones, instead of fitting together flush like this, the top of the stones, imagine this is the top of 2 blocks, they will fit together like this. So the front face will look perfect. The front face will look perfect, but the stones have a little gap at the back where it allows for imperfections. And this is how the Inca replicated those stones. And this is the exact same construction style that dude took back to Spain. So Tony, you kind of sandbagged everybody because you said, hey, the Inca did this, and you provided a much shittier example that doesn't actually fit any of the megalithic stuff. So Tony, unblock me. I would love to go on a trip with you down to Peru so we can, hash this out and view these things in person. Because what you did was just not cool, because I wanted to finish that conversation and show you that, yeah, the Inca tried to replicate it, but they couldn't. And there are obvious, noticeable differences in the craftsmanship down there that you can put your hands on and see. It comes nowhere close to the precision interlocking fit of the andesite at Sacsayhuaman. But
scientific discourse, Tony. You know how it works. It's not blocking other people who.
Well, you weren't being a dick. Like you weren't being a dick. I didn't think.
I was not being a dick.
Being super reasonable.
Yeah.
I like Tony because I think Tony is doing a lot of good work for promoting this stuff down there in Peru. I just disagree about a few things, but he's doing great work, and I've been shouting him out a bunch. So Tony, I'm going to have one of you guys send him a Twitter message with this clip and say, hey, unblock me, and let's get you on the show as a guest, Tony, and we can go over things together and look at things together with all love, buddy, all love. And maybe we can come down and we could do ayahuasca together, and then you will come to my perspective. Maybe I'll come to yours.
There you go. There you go.
That's great. That's great. One more thing here. We just wanted to stay on the topic of Twitter drama. Let me pull this back up here. Get you guys' comments on this because I know you guys love this stuff. We all love Jimmy Corsetti, but geez Louise, Jimmy he just loves jumping into the fire with these
crap at all times, and I love it.
Or starting the fire. Sometimes he's the guy
throwing.
Sometimes he's the one with the gasoline and the match.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at some of his Twitter posts here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had sent you one too.
Okay, here we go. Gobekli Tepe archaeologist Jens to Go apparently wants us to believe that those who built it were
people.
barefoot shirtless. Jens Notrop also recently referred to those concerned about Gobekli Tepe as pompous fraudsters. Those academics are so out of touch, it is unreal. Got any good replies here? By the way, I only mentioned white people to highlight the hypocrisy of other archaeologists who have disingenuously and maliciously brought white supremacy into the conversation of ancient civilizations. Yeah, that's a pretty funny tweet there. Jimmy is pretty good. If you start engaging with him on Twitter and promoting his stuff, he'll usually shout you out and like your tweets.
Well, does he? How many likes does that have? Like how many views does that have?
37.5k views with 1k likes. Yeah, pretty decent ratio. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, for a guy who gets that much engagement, he will engage with you back.
Yeah, he's always been wonderful with me. I appreciate it. I call him
a
Uncle
little
Jimmy.
bit. A little bit.
Yeah,
Uncle Jimmy.
I mean, this was just on topic for today, so he just does a really good job with this. Just pointing out the elephant in the room, and there's I'd say a good 12 elephants in the room, across the globe, where you can just be like, hey, look, boom, right? A couple of them are in Peru, and this is one of them. And I just like how Jimmy just does that. It takes a little bit of it's easy for him now, probably, but it takes like balls to just be like, it's wrong.
Yep.
This proves this elephant right here proves the mainstream theory's wrong.
Major respect for Jimmy and what he does. I appreciate him. I've watched him as a fan for years, so getting to interact with him now, I love.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to meet him in Arizona, guys. He's going to be there, so we'll get to hopefully meet him.
Hang out with Jimbo.
This
and
is
Danny in Arizona.
another cool post here they just had. This was pretty recently. This is from Jimmy Corsetti. So something we should talk about. The destructive steel roof over Cyberg has been removed and replaced with tarps. This comes just a months after Michael Collins and I put this on archaeological malpractice on blast. So a few months ago, Jimmy had mentioned that this structure here was sitting on top of the ruins. And he got into a bunch of arguments with a bunch of like loser archaeologists and loser people.
Very weird,
and I say losers because I'm like, why on earth would you argue against like somebody saying, "Hey, be more careful"?
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
He's literally saying, "Be more careful."
Yeah.
So it's like, they finally put tarps over it, and then I saw some silly post. I was trying to find it here, but somebody was like, "Oh, look, there goes Jimmy taking credit for normal archaeology work." And then Jimmy reposted that, was like, "Yo, I deserve a little bit of credit because nobody else was talking about this."
Yeah.
So
it's destructive, some of the practices they have there at Gobekli Tepe especially. And I've appreciated Jimmy bringing it to light.
Do you guys think some of it's like conspiracy and some of it's like just incompetence?
I think
like that. Some of that stuff there looked like incompetence to me. I don't think that's
it's all
a
money
conspiracy.
based. I mean, that's as much as I think the conspiracy is. I think it's all money based. They don't give a shit what's under there. They feel like they've got enough to make millions of dollars in tourism for the rest of ever. Why the hell would they dig it up now? It's ran by the Dogus group, which traces back to the WEF, which is literally the most greedy people on our planet. Like you can feel whatever you want politically and agree like the WEF is composed of literally the most greedy people on the planet. So it's when at the end of the day they're the ones signing paychecks for Gobekli Tepe, it's all going to go back to the money, of course, because they're the ones funding it. They want to make the money back.
Yep.
That was like incompetence.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's competence, and I think there's, geez Louise, with the WEF involvement and like the you've got Kara Tepe nearby, and there's like active work where people are like trying to, they're trying not to excavate like all over the region. Like they've done ground penetrating radar studies, and there's like so much more under Gobekli Tepe. Yeah.
There's dozens of other tepes.
Tos Tepler civilization is what they call it, I believe. The Tos Tepler.
So, who knows? Makes me wonder. Maybe a little bit of both, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think incompetence plays a lot, and I think ego just also plays a lot. And I find that people that get into bureaucratic positions that get a little bit of power tend to abuse that power more frequently than normal people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that plays a part with it.
There's a direct correlation between a high mental intelligence and a low social intelligence. Usually the higher straight across somebody's IQ is, the lower their social IQ is. So I think a lot of these people working on the site, with like 150x followers, when they start getting blasted publicly in front of hundreds of thousands of people all of a sudden, they're caught very off guard, and I don't think they have the social skills to work themselves out of it most of the time. So it just kind of turns into a pile-on for them. But the reality is a majority of these people I just don't think are socially savvy on the level those of us playing the social media game are. So that's probably part of it.
We should bring on that Spencer girl because she has like 3,000 followers and she's an actual archaeologist.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, get her in.
And she likes our show.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, hey, listen, boys, listen, gentlemen. I think we covered all the topics that we had to cover. I mean, there's a few more articles and events that we can go through. I'm going to shout out real quick at the end to some content creators. Was there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
No, I've got to wrap on up out of here in a second. It's my wife and I's 12th anniversary.
Happy anniversary to Cody and his wife there, coming up on what, 10 years?
No, 12.
12
this is number
years.
12.
Woo! High school sweethearts.
Nice. Congrats.
Yep. Since my senior
well,
year.
happy anniversary there. Want to do a quick shout out to some of the other smaller content creators that we love and that we know, some of our friends. If anybody watching, thanks for making it all the way to the end here. Basically 2 hours in, you guys rock. But some content creators wanted to shout out Universe Unveiled, featuring Jacqueline and Sarah. It's an exhilarating journey through science, philosophy, ancient mysteries, and more. They just did an episode featuring Uncle Dave Fitzpatrick, which will be eventually featured on the show.
We love Uncle Dave.
So check out Universe Unveiled. Jeff Up North features Jeff's explorations through the incredibly ancient past of Minnesota. So lots of mound work over there, a hotbed for history. Jeff is a boots on the ground and research behind the desk you don't want to miss. His channel is going to be linked down below. And then another friend of ours, close personal friend for a lot of us, Jason, also known as Shaman, is exploring the antediluvian history of Alabama with boots on the ground around his native terrain. He does find some especially curious objects that point to a history that has been washed out in the deep south. His channel is going to be down there below as well. Was that any other content creators you guys got?
That's it. I just wanted to say thank you guys for doing that with me. It was a fun first inaugural breaking ancient news featuring us three. And it's going to be fun. Promoting content, promoting our content, promoting friends' content, meeting up at conferences, going on expeditions ourselves. So stay tuned, everyone, because we got a bunch of stuff like that planned for the next year. And yeah, thanks, guys.
Awesome. Cody, you want to give us some words?
Had an awesome time. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, what Dave said, there's going to be a lot of content coming from a lot of different directions from the three of us. So I hope everybody's ready, because here we come.
Yeah, absolutely. As a reminder, guys, drop a comment down below. Chance you win a free hat. I'm going to mail it out to you wherever you're at in the world. Thanks, everyone, for participating. Thanks for those of us that are supporting our channels. We love you. We appreciate you. We value you. And as always, guys, stay awesome. Stay engaged. Always ask questions. And know that I love you. Perfect. I'm going to stop it there.